Good morning, you lovely people, you. I hope you're all good. Roof clean today. Haven't done a roof clean for ages. This is going to kill my shoulders. Right, okay, so let me just give you a bit of background about the job. There's a lovely clean roof, hey. Did that in September last year, and there's a house behind that that I actually did a video of that I did in July last year as well. I'm aiming for the whole street, so this is the job I did. So this is the job I'm doing today. Hopefully I'll get the whole little cul-de-sac, and then there's all those houses over there. Hopefully they'll all be mine. But hey, yeah, so that one came up really nice. That customer had a hole in one of their tiles. So as you can see, they had some spares, so I replaced it for them. Hence the little creamy tile in the middle of all the sort of grey ones. But I mean, they're okay with that. They just want it to be watertight, so that's that sorted. Anyway, so this is today's job, like I said. Not as bad as next door's, but still very mossy. Tiles look to be in very good condition. I mean, they're I would say this bungalow is maybe 1970s, early 80s. So we're talking 40, 50 years old, these tiles. So they're in they're in really good condition. I can't see any cracks or missing corners or anything like that, but to be honest, these tiles are notorious for having missing corners, and they only show up once you've sort of gone over them and removed the moss, because the moss sticks it all together, and then once you remove the moss, the little bits fall off and fall down. But yeah, pointing looks in very good condition. Let's show you around the back. I'm going to send the drone up, and I'll show you the first house I did, then the second, and this house as well. So lovely back garden, beautiful flowers, poppies, beautiful orange poppies. Okay, same again. It's just a mirror image of the front. This probably seems to be slightly worse around here, although the lumps of moss seem to be smaller, but they say there seems to be more of them. Okay, so this customer has he's not overly bothered about the way it looks. He's just more concerned that he's sick and tired of constantly having to unblock his gutters and having moss dropped on the floor from the birds picking at it trying to find a juicy grub. That's pretty much 95% of why people contact me. It's never because of the way it looks. So yeah, thank you, birds. Okay, so that's the job. Let's send the drone up, and then we'll get cracking. Cheers guys, see you in a bit. Let's go. Okay, so almost instantly there's a cracked ridge tile. It's not all the way along, it's just a very small split on one of the corners. Let me turn you round. I can't zoom in while it's recording, but I'll do that in the edit. It's the third tile in. will make the customer aware. And the thing is, it's just been covered with moss, and moss doesn't stop water getting in. I don't understand why some people think that moss plugs gaps, gaps that are in roofs or cracks. It doesn't. Moss is absorbent. It holds water, and any water within that moss will just drip through into any gap. So if it's not causing a problem, it hasn't been causing a problem with the moss on it, it's not going to cause a problem with the moss removed. So yeah, it's probably best to have a roofer address that, maybe replace the tile, possibly seal it up with some mastic. I don't really agree with that sort of thing, but it is a solution. Or possibly just put some sand and cement mortar in there. But ideally the best thing would be to replace that tile. But either way, I'll let the customer know. Okay, so that's that first side cleaned, ready to be treated. Now I've just got to clear up the mess, which, as you can see, it's considerable. Let's do it. surprise there. Just your usual, like a moss bomb has exploded. So right, time to get this cleared up. It's quite a lot here. So I did consider putting a tarp down here, but the customer quite likes their flowers and their plants, and the only issue with putting a tarp down over the top of them is that it gets the falling moss that's saturated with water, it gets quite heavy and it starts to squash the plants underneath, causing them to snap and bend, and actually you'll find that that causes more harm than good. Yes, they're covered with moss off the roof, but I can easily rinse it off, so I find it best to do it this way. Yes, you're going to get a few snap branches and a few snap flowers, but they will grow back. So the customer, I did discuss this with the customer beforehand, and I always do anyway, so that was why I've chosen not to put a tarp down this side. All the stuff that's on the concrete, that's easy to sweep up and bag up and then rinse down. So yeah, it looks worse than what it is. So I mean, it does look pretty bad though. It's covered all over the plants over here. The only plant that's really taken a bit of squishing is this one, but that will soon bounce back. I'm going to rinse that down. Once I've rinsed off all the moss off the leaves, I'll get most of it off. That will spring back up again. Yeah, okay, let's stop talking. Just going to move the scaffold over, start sweeping this up. Let's do it. Okay, all done. I'll turn you around. Looking good. Let's go have a look at the back. Okay guys, that's me done. Thanks for watching as usual. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, it'll be much appreciated. I'll see you next time.